The Works of Francis Bacon. Volume 1. Essays, of Travel. Of Travel. Travel, in the younger sort, is a part of education. In the elder, a part of experience. He that travelleth into a country, before he hath some entrance into the language, goeth to school, and not to travel. That young men travel under some tutor, or grave servant, I allow well, so that he be such a one that hath the language, and hath been in the country before, whereby he may be able to tell them what things are worthy to be seen in the country where they go, what acquaintances they are to seek, what exercises or discipline the place yieldeth. For else, young men shall go hooded, and look abroad little. It is a strange thing, that in sea voyages, where there is nothing to be seen but sky and sea, men should make diaries. But in land travel, wherein so much is to be observed, for the most part they omit it, as if chance were fitter to be registered than observation. Let diaries, therefore, be brought in use. The things to be seen and observed are the courts of princes, especially when they give audience to ambassadors, the courts of justice, while they sit and hear causes, and so of consistories ecclesiastic, the churches and monasteries, with the monuments which are therein extant, the walls and fortifications of cities and towns, and so the heavens and harbours, antiquities and ruins, libraries, colleges, disputations, and lectures, where any are, shipping and navies, houses and gardens of state and pleasure, near great cities, armories, arsenals, magazines, exchanges, burses, warehouses, exercises of horsemanship, fencing, training of soldiers, and the like, comedies, such where unto the better sort of persons do resort, treasuries of jewels and robes, cabinets and rarities, and, to conclude, whatsoever is memorable in the places where they go. After all which, the tutors, or servants, ought to make diligent inquiry. As for triumphs, masques, feasts, weddings, funerals, capital executions, and such shows, men need not to be put in mind of them. Yet are they not to be neglected. If you will have a young man to put his travel into a little room, and in short time to gather much, this you must do. First, as was said, he must have some entrance into the language before he goeth. Then he must have such a servant, or tutor, as knoweth the country. As was likewise said, let him carry with him also some card or book, describing the country where he travelleth, which will be a good key to his inquiry. Let him keep also a diary. Let him not stay long in one city or town, more or less as the place deserveth, but not long. Nay, when he stayeth in one city or town, let him change his lodging from one end and part of the town to another, which is a great adamant of acquaintance. Let him sequester himself from the company of his countrymen, and diet in such places where there is good company of the nation where he travelleth. Let him, upon his removes from one place to another, procure recommendation to some person of quality, residing in the place whither he removeth, that he may use his favour in those things he desireth to see or know. Thus he may abridge his travel with much profit. As for the acquaintance, which is to be sought in travel, that which is most of all profitable is acquaintance with the secretaries and employed men of ambassadors. For so in travelling in one country, he shall suck the experience of many. Let him also see, and visit, eminent persons in all kinds, which are of great name abroad, that he may be able to tell How the life agreeth with the fame. For quarrels, they are with care and discretion to be avoided. They are commonly for mistresses, healths, place, and words. And let a man beware how he keepeth company with choleric and quarrelsome persons. For they will engage him into their own quarrels. When a traveller returneth home, let him not leave the countries where he hath travelled altogether behind him, but maintain a correspondence by letters with those of his acquaintance, which are of most worth. And let his travel appear rather in his discourse than his apparel or gesture, and in his discourse let him be rather advised in his answers than forward to tell stories, and let it appear that he doth not change his country manners. For those of foreign parts, but only prick in some flowers of that he hath learned abroad, into the customs of his own country. Of Travel by Francis Bacon. Summary. Bacon begins the essay by arguing that the young soul learns a lot when he travels around unknown places. He learns a lot from the environment, even before he has started going to school. By traveling, the process of learning is enhanced and the child acquires awareness very early. However, one must seek some knowledge, particularly learning the language of the place where he intended to travel. If he doesn't have sufficient knowledge, he must not visit that place. Bacon further adds that it is often desirable for the young ones to travel around the world in the company of a knowledgeable person or tutor. For instance, under the supervision of a person who knows the foreign language and has been there before. The tutor, by virtue of his knowledge and experience, must be able to guide the young traveler about where to go and what is worth seeing. On the other hand, without a knowledgeable tutor, the young traveler might fail to perceive the worth and significant things while traveling to new places. Bacon furthermore says that it is a strange thing that while traveling across the sea, the man observes nothing much but the blue water and the never-ending sky. However, when traveling on the land, there is so much to observe that the traveler finds it hard to note down each and every detail. He should maintain a diary to note down the interesting things and events. Here Bacon suggests the traveler about what things they should mention in their diaries while traveling. These include the courts of prince, especially the reception they give to the ambassadors, the royal courts of justice, the scene of hearing plea from accused, the churches and monasteries and their way of living, the walls and fortification, the country's ancient buildings and ruins, libraries, colleges, the ways lectures are delivered, the recreational areas, whatsoever that appeals to one's sight and memorable. As for social events are concerned, like marriages, funeral, feasts, public execution, and celebration of victories, they should not be neglected and ignored. However, there is no need to mention them in a travel diary. Bacon continues the essay by guiding the travelers about some do's and don'ts, so that they take maximum benefit out of it. First of all, the young traveler must have some basic knowledge before starting traveling. Second, the young traveler should have a knowledgeable tutor who has profound knowledge about the place. Third, the tutor must carry some catalogue or book along with him that can help them in the foreign country. Fourth, the traveler must have a diary in which he can note down all the worth mentioning things. Fifth, the traveler should not stay long in one place than necessary. If in case he stays longer, he must change the place in the town in order to get maximum exposure. Sixth, the traveler should not choose to halt with the people of his own country. Rather he must choose to stay with people from a different country. Last but not the least, the traveler must obtain and carry along with him the letters of introduction from the nobility of his own place, for the one he is visiting to. This is result in ease in traveling. As far as the people whose acquaintance should be sought while traveling include secretaries and ambassadors. These people can offer help in visiting particular places, in gathering information, and availing resources that one might need. To Bacon, the traveller should always avoid engaging in any type of quarrel with local. Moreover, he should also be careful about the company of mistresses and quarrelsome people. These people might grind him in their fights. Bacon, like most of his essays, ends this essay with advice. He says that when the traveller returns to his own country, he shouldn't forget the country he travelled to, especially the people who helped him during his travel. He must establish a contact with them through letters. Furthermore, he must not show off his knowledge and awareness he acquired during travelling. But he should act well-mannered and disciplined to reflect the new wisdom he acquired during travelling. He should not exaggerate the stories and scenes that he encounters during travelling. Rather, he should be more concise and factual. Lastly, after travelling the other country, a person should not forget the customs and traditions of his own native land. While acquiring the customs and traditions of the country he visited, he should rather adopt some good things from the foreign country. End of the summary. Thank you.